Hi, thank you for taking some time to take a look at our video. It is beneficial information that will be important for a lot of American parents, and we would like to share it with you. We are undergraduate students at Penn State University studying psychology. We are interested in helping youth develop in constructive ways so that they can make positive contributions to our society. Our focus is on the way in which low-income neighborhoods affect parents and what can be done to buffer any of these negative effects. This is relevant as many Americans have become unemployed and been forced to move into lower-income neighborhoods. Let's take a closer look.
A record number of Americans are living in poverty. The government says the poverty rate topped 15% last year, which means 46.2 million people are living below the poverty line.
The shift towards more American families being labeled as low socioeconomic status causes us to wonder what effects this could have on parents. We know that the stresses put on these parents to find ways to provide for their families can lead to life difficulties. They may need to work longer hours, leading to less time to properly supervise their children. Adjusting to low SES neighborhoods brings in a new factor to the equation. How could raising a child in this type of environment impact the child?
We began to answer these questions by first looking at a study done by Dahl, Sabalo, and Huerta that examined mothers' perceptions of poor neighborhoods as places to raise children. These researchers used semi-structured interviews to get mothers' viewpoints of their neighborhoods. A neighborhood in this case was open to the mother's interpretation, however they defined it. In most cases, this ranged anywhere from several city blocks to 1 square block away from their place of residence. Despite all parents living in a very similar area, there were many diverse perspectives. Researchers categorized these mothers as perceiving their neighborhoods as either consistently positive, consistently negative, inconsistent, or both negative and positive. The most significant finding was from the mothers who had many negative views about their neighborhood and some of its characteristics. These mothers saw less social interaction with neighbors, had a high fear of crime in their neighborhood, reported higher amounts of victimization, and also reported higher incivility scores.
Some of the literature on low-income neighborhoods and tried to find some ways that neighborhoods affect parents. We found a study by Elder Jr. and colleagues that studied how parental efficacy was affected by economic pressures. Parental efficacy is defined simply as one's confidence in their ability to parent. The findings of this study suggest that strong economic pressures lower a parent's self-efficacy. This is detrimental to parents in our society because, as we pointed out before, more families in America are starting to encounter a greater amount of economic pressure every day. The researchers also discovered that greater amounts of negative and risky opportunities presented to youth in low-income neighborhoods adds to the challenges that parents face. Many of these challenges were also described by the mothers in the study done by Dahl and colleagues that viewed their neighborhoods negatively. Elder Jr. and colleagues suggested a positive model of neighborhood theory called collective socialization, which may serve to buffer families from these negative effects. In the model, social support from the neighbors and other nearby family members has a positive impact on youth and their parents. The researchers also suggested that this social support could buffer the negative effects that economic pressure has on parental efficacy. This could lead to more confident parents, which would aid in positive parenting.
While social support may serve as a protective factor, it is problematic to manipulate this for most families, as it is difficult to find friendly neighbors in some areas, placing dependence on factors outside of most people's control. Because of this, we decided to search for some strategies that parents can use in low SES neighborhoods that could have positive effects on their child's development. In a study done by Robin Jarrett in 1997, she looked at parenting strategies used by African American families in impoverished neighborhoods. While she focused in on African American families, for her study, we believe that many of these strategies and suggestions are applicable to anyone in a low SES neighborhood. Jarrett pulled interviews from existing studies and reviewed some techniques parents use and how effective they were. Jarrett then compiled a list of some of the more effective strategies for parenting in these low SES neighborhoods. There were 4 main strategies discussed.
The first of these was family protection strategies. These strategies included parents discussing safe places for their children to play, in addition to raising awareness of others outside the community who may be viewed as a threat. When families can orient their behavior to promote well-being and express this to their children, it is beneficial to the family's cohesiveness. Similar to family protection strategies is child monitoring. Child monitoring involves keeping track of where one's children are and what they are doing. The most effective child monitoring strategies do not involve keeping the kids inside, but instead making sure that either the mother or father is around to supervise outdoor play at all times.
A third important strategy for parents utilizes the neighborhood resource model as a framework, where the institutions and other resources found around the neighborhood can positively impact the individuals who live in the area. Jarrett found parents that seek out available resources in the neighborhood and who encourage their parents to participate in community activities, provide their children with more opportunities for safe play and beneficial socialization. In-home learning strategies are ways that parents can incorporate learning behavior in the household as well as express the importance of education to their children. Some ways that were described to support learning behaviors at home were reading to one's children and reviewing basic math and spelling skills.
We have discovered some of the negative impacts low SES neighborhoods have on parents and their children. Results also showed some mothers may perceive their neighborhoods differently.
We also found that some of these effects can be buffered by the parents seeking social support from neighbors and nearby family. This social support served to increase parental efficacy, which can produce more competent parenting. Finally, we discussed specific strategies that can be utilized by parents in low SES neighborhoods to promote better outcomes in their children.
We thank you again for taking time to watch our video, and we hope that you learned some useful information about effective parenting.